Hey, everybody. Welcome to another thought leadership series where we're going to be diving deep into subject matter that, we've intersected in our whole world at Outsource Access and working with companies in 85 different industries, over the years as we grew to 500 folks in 4.5 years. We've ended up having a lot of opportunity to work with companies in the restaurant space, and it's continued to grow. And especially as we started stepping into some of the franchise, industry space and getting to work with some larger brands and some local ones, Dreamland Barbecue, District Taco, and a bunch of others, and helping them across their business and marketing, operations, accounting, bookkeeping, catering. Got a chance to intersect with other just phenomenal, vendors and providers and thought leaders, in this space. And so stoked to have Matt Plapp on with us today. He's going to be a fantastic guest. And I'm telling you guys, this is going to be uncovering and sharing an aspect of social and how to leverage it in a way that most people in general, and certainly like restaurants, do not really fully understand. When they think about social and how they use it, they're barely scratching the surface and kind of write off what's fully there. And Matt and his team have just nailed how to make it be productive, generate tons of business, and drive acquisition, and retention. So thanks for being with me, Matt. I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So I'll let Matt dive in and give a quick background on himself, but just a tremendous business that he's built with the entire roadshow business they do with America's Best Restaurants and the whole media and production side of it, and then what they've done with Driver that kind of adds the elements of using social and a really unique technology to kind of take assets, if done properly, and how to leverage those and drive them, and the interaction elements that are on social. So thanks, Matt. Give everybody a little background that sort of led to where you are in this space.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm hungry now. You said tacos, you said barbecue. I'm sitting here thinking about dinner right now instead of this interview. But no,
we'll get it quick.
My background with restaurants probably started at a young age. My dad was in the insurance business and had a lot of restaurants insured back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And so we ate out a lot. And so I was a fortunate kid that grew up eating a lot of steaks, a lot of ribs, a lot of buffalo wings, even though most places had no clue what a buffalo wing was in the 80s. But I grew up at restaurants, at dine-in, independently owned restaurants, got to know a lot of the owners and really enjoyed it. And then when I got into radio back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I continued that. I reached out to the businesses that needed more help than I thought they were getting, which was mom and pop restaurants. And then as we started this company that is America's Best Restaurants today, back in 2008, I started working with restaurants on Facebook advertising. Don't know how I saw it, to be quite honest with you, because I look back and I'm like, I don't think I was that smart or that ahead of a game. But in 2008, I went to a restaurant and said, hey, here's an opportunity to use Facebook to sell your food. And I also went to a home theater company, and my buddy Adam was like, hey, Matt, I love you. I think you're pretty smart. I trust your advice. I think you're crazy that I'm going to sell a home theater system for 80 grand on Facebook. But turns out I was right. And so we started the company in 2008 doing outsourced marketing, mostly digital marketing, because I had figured out on accident digital marketing in the early 2000s. And it's a whole other story I won't get into, but I had figured out the internet and fell in love with chat rooms, fell in love with what social media was becoming back in 2008 and 2009. And companies would hire us to be their at-large marketing director, where we would basically look at their marketing spend, help them spend it without charging them a commission. Because as we talked earlier, that was a big thing in the business. Hey, you spend more money, I make more. Well, I had a different idea. Let's spend what you need to spend to get the results you need. And in that, we did all their digital marketing. And so we started working with a lot of restaurants. Around 2015, I looked at our portfolio of 34 clients, of which 9 of them were restaurants. And I saw the only way I could duplicate what we were doing at scale was to get rid of the other industries and go exclusively restaurants. And I chose restaurants as the path to go because I looked at 2 things. The people I liked dealing with the most that I related to. And as an example, we had a car dealer that owned 40 locations and had a private jet and massive, massive, massive money. And as much as I liked him, we weren't the same people, and we weren't ever going to go golfing or have lunch together. And so my restaurant owners were just like me, in the trenches, grinding it out, making it happen. And then the other part of it was I looked at our skill we had developed. We had developed a very good skill at getting attention with digital marketing, and then more importantly, using that to build a database. And the only businesses that we had that could rely on that database for repeat customers was the restaurants. The car dealerships, we could run an ad. We could get a consumer to give us their contact info. And if they didn't buy a car within 3 to 5 days, the car dealer was done with them. The restaurants, on the other hand, I could get them to click a button on Facebook, which is where this came from, and they get a free growler, a coupon for it, digital. They walk in the restaurant, they get their free growler, they spend money, and then we have their email and their phone number to remarket to them. And that person can come back every week and get a beer and pretzels and beer cheese. And now there's a bigger lifetime value, and there's a bigger value to that database. And so in 2015, with the help of a business coach named Billie Jean Shaw from out in California, I analyzed and said, okay, restaurant owners are my people. And
Billie Jean's a machine on Facebook. Man, I remember seeing all his stuff. His
you know Billy? Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen honestly lately, but I mean, there's a while there. I mean, just the Billie Jean machine. I used to see all his content, great, innovative content.
Yeah, I became good friends with him. I joke because I paid him a lot of money. I found him in 2015 to 16 and joined his generic courses, and then went to one of his meetups, realized that he was legit and as down to earth as they get. I think my first year I paid him 30 grand for one-to-one coaching. There was actually 6 of us that joined a one-to-one program, like a miniature mastermind. And it helped me take my company to a new level. I credit him with a lot of our success and getting me focused on the right people and who my tribe was, restaurants. And then more importantly, scaling with one product. And that's what we did from 2015 to 19 was we scaled with our customer acquisition tool, helping restaurants run digital marketing campaigns to acquire customer data and then use that customer data to drive them in to spend more money. Well, number one, to come for the first visit. Number two, to come more often if they were a frequent customer. Number three, spend more money when they came, because restaurants can make a lot of money when people buy a cookie, when they upsize, when they get a combo. The problem is employees are not very good salespeople. And I learned from an early age that digital marketing is a very good salesperson. And then the last part is winning back customers. And so that's what we did until 2019. And then you mentioned our media company. I always loved cable TV food shows. Guy Fieri, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, Gordon Ramsay. I always loved seeing the business side of it, the stories, the entrepreneur in it. But what I also was smart enough to realize back then was that cable was dead. And it's even worse nowadays. I mean, nobody sits on their sofa and watches, the Food Network anymore. Yeah. Sports is about all that's left on cable anymore. And so I looked at it and said, man, what if we created a digital first media channel dedicated to restaurants? So that's when we pivoted our brand to become America's Best Restaurants. And we created a product called the ABR Roadshow, where today we film at 800 restaurants. So we film a made for Facebook TV show for independent restaurants only. So it's not franchises. It's just independents, one-off mom and pops. Some of them are smaller, regional, independent with multiple locations. A lot of them are one location. And the idea is to help them tell their story on marketing and then also leverage that to build a database and drive sales. So under our company umbrella, there's 3 divisions. Our acronym, the 3 commandments of ABR, are attract, build, retain. All 3 of our core programs do all 3 of them. So the ABR Roadshow is all about attracting a lot of attention, building a database, and then it's less reliant on retaining them because it's a short sprint. Our customer acquisition programs and our marketing consulting fall in the middle, where they're focused heavily on building databases. How can we use everything possible, your in-store, your website, your social media, to build a database that you own so that you don't have to keep renting people's attention? And then the last part is our driver loyalty, which is a software that hooks up to Toast POS and Aero POS and a bunch of those. That's all about retention. So it attracts a lot of attention within the system and then retains it. And we're looking at here the America's Best Restaurants website. My goal for this down the road is to become a pretty big brand with the consumer side, because we've created a brand that people trust. It's an easy name. Somebody could have never seen America's Best Restaurants before, and the minute they see America's Best Restaurants at their local mom and pop taco shop they go to, they instantly think, oh, they've done something right. And that's why we've spent, I think we're close to right now $11 million since 2020 on this brand and this concept. And part of me questions my entire sanity because
how many do y'all shoot a year? Like, how do you pull this off logistically? It's incredible, right?
800. It's crazy. And I don't know how we pull it off, to be quite honest with you, because every week we have our L10 meeting. Like today we had our L10 meeting. We're an EOS company. Yeah. And little issues come up and I'm like, man, how'd that happen? Like I always look at my window of my office, or the parking lot of our office out here. There's this little corner parking spot that one of our video guys parked in, and he traveled for 3 weeks a month for a year and a half.
Oh, nice.
And his car would be parked in that corner. I remember one day I was sitting here and I'm like, Austin's car has been there more than anything else. Like, how is he not quit? Like, why is he still here? And like, so I kind of go through those. It's a logistical nightmare to some extent. I mean, every single week, like right now, we have 2 crews on the road. We have probably, I'd say, 14 to 15 hotel reservations. We've got probably 8 to 10 airline tickets. We've got the company credit card will get swiped at multiple gas stations around the country. The other day, I caught a fraud. One of them got swiped for $500, and I know our vans don't take $500, and so we figured out at a gas station, tried to, charge somebody else's car gas on there, but it's a big task for sure.
And you'll have a full production crew, right? So you go on site and you got somebody that's kind of actually, just like, the dine-in drivers and dives. And I use the same thing, Outsource Access. We inspired by that because I loved watching, and we kind of do Outsource Access on the road where we go visit our clients that are using us. But you'll have like a full, a full production staff or producer. You'll have someone that'll kind of be touring and hosting and kind of going through the restaurant and kind of giving their feedback. And so in each of these, you can kind of actually watch the final production. What's the length typically of each one?
12 minutes now. At one point, we were, for some reason, 28 minutes a while back, and it was too damn long. We've got it down to now our winning equation's 12 minutes. Yeah, professionally produced, hosted. We have 7 hosts on our team, full and part-time. We have 9 videographers and editors on our staff, and everything's done in-house. And one thing we've done unique is that the show's not about our host. Like, that's one of our former hosts, Jacqueline. We want the host to be a byproduct of the episode, whereas a lot of cable TV, the shows became about the host. Like, Guy is bigger than Food Network, and we don't want to be bigger than the restaurant. And so the restaurant's all about telling their story, helping them stand out. And then at the same time, we're there capturing a lot of footage that we give them afterwards to say, this is how you use this on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And it does well. So that's the big part of it. And the other part of it is just giving them attention. And down the road, probably going to be 2027 to 2028. I really want to launch a consumer side of it to where we can help restaurants drive traffic through americasbestrestaurants.com, create a lot of cool stuff there because consumers trust it. They know it. It's like I always joke that your favorite TV show that you watch right now meant nothing the first time you saw the name. But once you watched it 10 times, it made, like when I watched Breaking Bad one time, the first time years ago, it meant nothing. And then I watched 4 or 5 episodes and it meant something. Well, consumers see the name America's Best Restaurants and it instantly is like they make an association of what it is. And one caveat on the ABR side of the things with the roadshow is restaurants have to fit something. Yes, there is an expense to do what we do. There is an investment, but 1 out of 4 restaurants actually fit what we're looking for. And so on a daily basis, we'll get 30 restaurants that apply or contact us. Our outbound sales team will contact another 50 to 100. But so
30 people per day are coming to apply to be to
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single day. Yeah.
So like 1,000 a month that are coming.
That's a lot. Yeah. And about 1 in 4 fit. We get some crazy ones that you're like, how did this person think that this would be a good fit? And then we get other ones that's like, man, this is pretty humbling that they want to be a part of our world. But there's 10 qualifications we judge restaurants on from a standpoint of what they do and how they do it and active ownership and their reviews and their commitment to the community and go from there. And then the other side of the company, which is what you're at there, Driver, and our marketing insights is all about helping restaurants build their database and then use it correctly.
And so going back to the story, and I love the narrative, kind of what led you to. And it's interesting, every entrepreneur's journey, and you never know like what thing will daisy chain to the next. As you're just, at the end of the day, you're just falling in love with solving the problems of of individuals and your connection to the industry, and then seeing something. So why do you think other people haven't? I mean, how do people typically see Facebook? Right? If you're a typical restaurant, like how have they seen Facebook? And how did you guys come across seeing it? I mean, I know you kind of shared sort of your path around it. Why haven't others started getting on this train of how to leverage Facebook and the right kind of content? Is it just because they kind of have it mentally like in this box of sort of what it is? And Facebook is that thing we put up and we just throw some pictures of food up, right? They don't use it as a vehicle.
Here's what happened with Facebook as some issues. Number one, a lot of restaurants now look at Facebook as a replacement for what they did back in the 90s. Valpak, coupons, direct mailers, radio and TV. And so they think, oh, I've got this audience on Facebook. I'm going to just plaster it with a bunch of ads. Doesn't work. People aren't on Facebook to see your advertisement. They're on Facebook to engage, to argue about politics, to have fun with sports, to watch goats jump off of people's backs. Like, you need to fit into that. And so one of the biggest problems that's happened with Facebook is, number one, restaurants aren't using it correctly. they're using it like they used to use the money mailer example. I always use this because I remember being at clients' restaurants, being at Hofbrauhaus Newport, and our rep coming for money mailer back in 2010. And he's like, hey, Matt, next month's mailer, what do you want to do? Okay, we want to do this coupon, and let's put this picture. That worked because people were opening their mailbox expecting coupons. Whereas Facebook, you and I aren't opening Facebook or Instagram and going, I hope to God I see a coupon for a pizza joint. You're opening it, hoping to engage. Now, there are very good strategies, and we'll show in a minute on how to put a coupon there. And I'm not a fan of coupons, by the way. I'm a fan of offers because I want to trade a very high value offer for data so that I can use the data for the future. But that's one problem. The other problem is Facebook gave people, it's like the old analogy that the drug dealer gives you a taste and you got to come back for it. Well, back in the early days, 2008 to 2013, if you had 1,000 Facebook fans and you made a post, your 1,000 fans saw it. Around 2013, they started turning the water faucet off. And they said, hey, you've only got two ways you're going to reach your audience now. You're either really good at creating content that are in our customers, because that's what these people are. They're Facebook's customers. And when I say Facebook, I also mean Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. They're all the same. And so they turned off the water faucet and said, there's two ways to get the water to come back. Create really good content that people like and that keeps them on our platform, or pay for it. Well, the restaurants suck at creating content 9.9 out of 10 times. So the other side of it's advertising. Now, here's another mistake they made. Facebook did, and they've admitted
What was the year? What was the year that was the main inflection?
Gosh, it was like 2012, 2014. I remember mom and pop places we worked with back then. We had one client at 30 locations, a franchise chain we worked with. And whatever we posted on Facebook, it blew up because it was a wide open. There were no gates on it. And then all of a sudden it started going from where, okay, we have 5,000 fans and we had this much engagement. Well, then we had this much engagement and then this much. And then you turn around 2015-ish and it's all pay to play or create engaging content, because social media is meant to be social and engaging. And so that's where the struggle came in. But I'll never forget this moment. I was speaking in 2018 at a conference in Austin, Texas on Facebook marketing. And I actually had wrote a book for this conference. I wrote another book called Don't 86 Your Restaurant Sales. And about 8 months for the conference, said, Matt, we want you to speak at this conference. And you said you were working on a book about pizza marketing. Would you be able to print it by then and hand it out? And it was a small guide, 2-hour read called Sell More Slices. So I went to this conference. We had this book created, and it was all about leveraging Facebook advertising to build a database and see trackable results for a restaurant. And at the same conference, a lady who was really high up at Facebook spoke, and she said, the worst thing we ever did was create the Facebook boost button. And I thought it was a pretty ingenious idea because it made it easy. And she said, well, here's the problem. And I was talking to her after she spoke and got more context. She said, Matt, it's easy for you and your team because you've done the work behind Facebook's platform to build the right audiences, the right messaging, the right targeting, the right call to action, the right graphics. Most restaurants, most small businesses are just clicking boost. And so they take a terrible picture with no offer, with no call to action, with no targeting. And they just think, oh, I wasted $25. Didn't work. And so what happened was they made it so easy to give Facebook money that enough restaurants gave them 100, 200, 300, and they couldn't connect that to results. And so now it's a scam. Now it doesn't work. Like I've had people tell me, oh, Facebook's a scam. What your company does with this is a scam. I'm like, it's a scam. Like, what do you mean? It doesn't work. I'm like, well, because you've not been able to use it correctly doesn't mean it's a scam. Like I have a pizza oven at my house. I can't make pizza. Doesn't mean pizza's a scam. The Italians have ripped us off. It means I'm not a pizza chef. I'm a restaurant marketing chef.
It's fascinating. I've never heard that story. Now it makes sense. I mean, it's kind of like, when people start running like pay-per-click ads, they think they just need to run them, drive people to their homepage. And it drives me nuts when these agencies are like, look at all the great pay-per-click costs I'm getting you. You're only getting so much per click, right? Well, you didn't think through where you're sending them, right? You can't just send somebody to somebody's homepage. You got to take them to an intentional place to take action that's going to think through the entire consumer behavior cycle, right? Not just what's going to be the easiest thing for them, for them to do. Well, let's jump in, and I know you've got some visuals to show and like what you guys are doing. The stats are incredible, right? To see like exactly kind of what's happening, and using Facebook and understanding the algorithm, how it works, and understanding consumer behavior. And to your point, like, what do people use social for? They go there to be entertained. They go there to be engaged. They don't go there to get, to get sold to. And you got to speak to them in their own language, right? You got to, the best marketing enters the conversation already going on in somebody's mind. And that conversation, when someone opens up Instagram and Facebook, isn't to get sold. In fact, it pisses them off, right? More so than anything. It's about educate me first, earn the right to be able to get an opportunity. When I do speaking on this, I got 2 circles. I talk about, look, if you can earn the right to be on someone's nurture wheel, right? You're staying in their, their Facebook feed, their LinkedIn, their newsletters. You got to earn the right to stay on that nurture wheel. There will be a life and business event at some point, right, where you'll have an opportunity, and that intersection is where dollars can happen. Yep. For us, sometimes we had a guy. I haven't talked to this guy in 12 years, right? I haven't even seen him. He doesn't like my comments. He doesn't post on anything. But he had been watching. He calls me up out of the blue and said, "Hey, I just took over as CEO of this, organization in Wisconsin, and we need 10 people from you from Outsource Access." And he repeated my entire life back to me. Yeah. I've seen the guy's name in 10 years.
He's a lurker.
Right. That's what's called the dark social, right? Yep. And it's a lot of these people that, look, and I was joking around with Doug, your COO. A lot of the COO profiles are people, they're not, and Doug's unique. He's definitely about a personality, in terms of how he engages in that platform. But a lot of your decision makers and stuff, sometimes it's the people that are, they're viewers. They don't comment, because the vast majority of people don't like to be visible on social, but they like consuming it, right? So, but cool. So let's jump in, and I'll throw up on the stage here kind of some visuals, so to show some actual metrics of
this is
what you've got here is to kind of show an actual case study, of your product in action.
And this is a simple visual. So one thing I want to focus on is, all marketing starts with impressions right here. Radio, TV, Facebook, Instagram. It's all about getting in your customer's mind. And in this case, in their phone. Now, we have a strategy that we call ABR, attract, build, retain. Attract attention with marketing, build a database with your marketing, and then retain those customers through using their data correctly. Now, one thing that people forget about is that, let's say, for example, that you did click that boost button on Facebook and you spent $500 in 1 month and it worked. And you're like, oh, holy crap, our sales went up. We had 100 new customers come in. We sold this dessert. Let's do it again. Well, then you got to pay Facebook again. And if you don't structure it correctly, you're paying to reach the same people you reached last month again. So what we've created on here is a system that allows us to run digital marketing mainly through Facebook and Instagram. And people ask, why not other places? Because I found that 9.9 out of 10 restaurants are not spending enough money to dominate that platform. So why go and build a bunch of partially built bridges? Dominate one platform, go hard in the paint and do it. So in this case, this is a 1 month snapshot. This restaurant spent ballpark, I'll say $500 in Facebook ads. That's about most of our clients. So one location brand like deli type restaurant, $500 in Facebook ads. Now, if you spend
$15 a day, right?
Yeah, $15 a day.
30-day month to $15 a day.
Yep. When you spend $500, all marketing, whether it's radio, TV, direct mail, Facebook, you're going to get impressions. You're going to reach people. My goal, though, is to get you to engage, because if I can get you to engage, Facebook now has a better picture. If people just scroll by your ads, Facebook doesn't know who to target. But if people stop on your ad, they see that. They see a lot of stuff, by the way. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that give what's called positive attribution to marketing campaigns. But if they see that Matt Plapp stopped on the ad, and then Matt Plapp clicked the see more button to read more about what this promotion is, and then click the button to get the promotion, now they have all these things. And so a couple things that we do intentionally, you'll see the frequent customers here, and I'll walk you through how we get this, but we want to get early adopters. If I make a Facebook post on a restaurant that's got an active Facebook page, if I make it on their page right away, and I can get people into this marketing funnel, I'm going to get early adopters. Because people that are seeing your current post are your most loyal fans, typically, if they're engaging. So if I can get this 14% to engage right away, which we usually do, Facebook now goes, okay, here's the people I'm going to build this ad campaign off of. I'm going to build a profile and machine learn off of these 14% and go and find people that look just like them in the community we're targeting. So if we're targeting 3 miles from the restaurant, we're doing that. And the other part of it is this engagement. This engagement.
Let me break it. And real quick, let me break down the step you're talking about. So, let's take a, typical restaurant that hasn't gone down this path. They got a Facebook page. They got, 28 followers. Some of them are, aunts and uncles and what have you. Right. And they've just been posting pictures of food and what have you. And so they've checked the box of having their Facebook page, but they're not getting engagement because, that's not the type of content. They may be posting coupons, maybe posting pictures of food, what have you, but it's not what the consumer is wanting to see when they come to Facebook.
Yep.
So when you start working with someone, you'll help them kind of figure out what is some initial like organic content, right, that you can post that'll get some engagement. So you're trying to get engagement through organic or through paid ads initially to kind of prime that pump. Is that organic that you need to prime it or paid?
Well, you can do it both. It works if you do both. Like we've had clients that will get on there and it's all paid because they suck at social media. They refuse to engage in social media. They refuse to spend more to have us do for them. And so it's like, great. If you just want us to do the bare minimum and we'll run ads through our system and it'll work for the most part, 9 out of 10 restaurants that we fit our avatar. Now, if it's a high-end Thai restaurant in an urban area like downtown Cincinnati that has no traffic, it might be like pulling teeth. But if it's your traditional restaurant with a strong brand recognition with decent amount of traffic, we can find people. The ideal situation is that they have content on their pages engaging. And what we give our clients is we give them access to what we call ABR University. Little disclaimer, it's not a college. That happened a couple years ago. People got mad. ABR University, it's just an online learning platform. And we give you 365 posts you can make a year. Here are engaging content. Like, for example, a pizza restaurant. That's a really simple one. Team pineapple on pizza, yay or nay? Comment below. $25 gift card picked randomly to somebody that we pick out of the comments. People will get they're baited by it. Hell no, no pineapple. Yes, pineapple's great. Blue cheese or ranch with your rings, flats or drums, boneless or not. All sorts of opportunities there. Is vanilla the most underrated flavor at an ice cream shop? So we give them posts that are either seasonal or product. Mother's Day, instead of saying come in for a Mother's Day brunch, here's a picture of me and my mom, the owner of this restaurant. Comment below a picture of you and your mom in a story. And these campaigns work and get engagement. So in a perfect world, we get restaurants to listen to us or hire us to help them do it in some cases. But more than likely, if they listen to it and make content, people comment on it, it makes the page more visible. And when we put ads behind a page that's more visible, Facebook has more data to learn off of. And so what we're trying to get is engagements. And up here, there's the biggest aspect of what we put out there is an offer that is so good. I don't want to give a coupon for 10% off because couponing and discounts hurt your brand long-term. People become addicted to them. But if I put an offer out for buy one, get one free pizza or a free pizza, and the only way you get it is by clicking this button and give me your name, your phone number, your email, and how often you visit the restaurant, and I deliver a digital redeemable offer to you, then it's a barter. People know they're not always going to get that free pizza. And that's a key element because when people engage in that ad, when you get frequent customers into the funnel, Facebook says, okay, here's a profile that's engaging at a high level. Oh, well, here's a bigger profile. And now we start getting data. So like in this example, 2,700 people in a month engaged, 667 started coming in that marketing funnel and started giving us their information. Now, in this customer's case, by the way, you see a 0 down here for birthday. They chose not to get birthdays because they have a loyalty program that this funnels, actually our loyalty program. And that program has birthdays. And instead of having a customer give the data twice, we get it there. But one of the key questions that we ask is, how often do you come to the restaurant currently? I've never come before. I come all the time. I haven't been in a while. The reason we do that is we want to know how to target the marketing inside of there, the messaging. So you get an email from a restaurant you've never been to before. That email needs to sell a different way than somebody who comes all the time. And then in this example, you can see, 13% of the database have already walked in, 95 of them, and spent $2,035. And I showed you this example. I didn't want to show you a crazy example. Matt Plapp from 10 years ago would have shown you an example that had 2,500 opt-ins in 1 month, a 28% redemption rate, and $9,000 in sales. And what I found out happens is that you want to show what's possible. Like people go, is that possible? Like we had a client last month, a salad concept in California, 2 locations, $98,000 in sales on a $500 Facebook ad. And I was like, I thought the dashboard was wrong. And it turns out these guys just resurrected a brand and a market that was hot. And we came at the right time and our system fit perfectly. But I told my team, don't show anybody that dashboard.
But just repeat that number. Just the significance of it. I mean, it is give me an outlier, but on the
basically
even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of that. So
$500 spent, and
$500 spend over a 30-day period.
Yeah, to get that result, and it's ludicrous. Like I saw it and thought it was wrong. And we've had, about
what is the average? I mean, what have you seen? I mean, all the years you've been doing, like, what is kind of the
so it depends on the average check. In this case, you can see a $21 average check. You're going to see $2,000 to $3,000 a month typically. And then a lot of our clients are $40, $50 a check, like a dine-in pizza restaurant as an example. And you got 40 to $50 coming in. You're going to see 5 to 6. The goal of this program is to self-fund. This is never going to be and never should be a major source of profit for your restaurant. This is the initial visit. This is the top of the funnel.
Right.
All we're trying to
break even on initial visit and get lifetime value.
Yeah. We're trying to date. We're trying to meet people that have never eaten. 52% of these people had never been to the restaurant. So in this case, if I were to take this money and say, okay, 80% of this money wasn't happening. They had never been or weren't coming anymore. That means that if I take my food costs out of this $2,000, I'm down to $1,400. And now I say 80% of that wasn't coming. That puts me down, let's just call it $1,000. So I've got $1,000 in incremental profit. I pay off the fee to us, a couple $100, pay off the ads, a couple $100. I might be break even, but I've gotten the advertising impressions. I've gotten the engagements. More importantly, I've gotten the data, and I've already had 95 people show the ultimate trust, which is walk in my business and hand me a credit card to buy my food. And so the
break that down and pause on that real quick. Right. And I know I'm too, like, it's the compounding effect of it. Like when you see, and to kind of break it down, right, for everyone, it's like, if you look at, and it's kind of like in our, in multiple businesses, right? It's about, why did AT&T just give me $600 in gift cards to move away from Xfinity, right? Yeah. Because they know, right? And it's amazing. Like they just landed and I got like $150 to Nordstrom. My wife opened it up. She's like, oh, this is nice. I'm like, hey, that's mine. I actually finally got a gift card for myself here at some point. But it was like $400 in Amazon gift cards and $150 to Nordstrom, right? But why were they willing to do that, right? Even though my bill with them is only $60 a month, right? They know the average lifetime value, right? But they're actually losing money. I mean, for them to recoup. But I mean, let's look at the numbers though, Matt. I mean, at the end of the day, you're talking about $2,000, right? And if you look at the average, food costs, labor costs, and so forth, right? I mean, what's the kind of the net, contribution margin on $2,000 for a $21 average ticket?
Oh, I mean, well, in this case, in this case, your only cost you've got for your new and your lost customers is your food cost, because your overhead's already there. Your employees are already standing there. Your rent's happening. So
this is incremental dollars you wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So incremental gross margin. So your food cost is what is typically what, 50?
And that 30% most restaurants.
So you're looking at 60, 70%. So I mean, it's $1,200 say, in like gross margin, and you spent what, 400 to get it, 500 to get it?
$500, yeah.
So 500, to get it, right? So you doubled, right? So you didn't, it's not like you're having to ask people to lose money, right?
Yeah.
So they are making some incremental dollars from it. And if you look at the average lifetime value, right? That 500 that you just spent, if you got you average ticket of 21, which is how many total visitors? So it's at
95.
So 95. And if you look at whatever the repeat cycle and so forth, and assuming that's the whole retention side of kind of what you do. Yeah. But you look at, that could be several $1,000s times. Well, call it what, $2,000 times 95 or $2,000 times 30, the 30% of them.
Yeah. Here's always the conversation in the restaurant world. A lot of people make it too hard. 600 people can add $100,000 in profit to your restaurant. Let me break this down really quick. There's 95 people in a month that have already walked in. So let's imagine that of those 95, we get 25% of them to become loyal customers. That's 23.75 people. And at let's say like this type of restaurant, a deli, somewhere you're going to eat once or twice a week. Let's just say they come 24 times in a year, twice a month. That's 570 visits out of that one little pocket of people from 1 month. And their average check's $21. That's $11,970 from 25 people. So only a quarter of those 95. That's 1 month. And what happens is restaurants have this, I don't want to call it delusion. They just don't have a trust. And a lot of small business, I don't want to pick on restaurants, small businesses. Yeah. I always joke that marketing is like a house that you bought that you never get to see. And like one of my employees just closed on a house yesterday. And I tell all my employees this: imagine you close on your house, you got your HOA fee, you've got your landscaping, your water bill, your electric, your insurance, your house payment. And every month you call your mortgage guy, your insurance guy, say, hey man, when am I getting the house? It's coming, man. It's coming. Trust me. Well, that's marketing. Like you never see it. Well, in this instance, we know we can show our clients at a worst case scenario, you're breaking even every month. And if you break even on this equation every month, if you were to do this for 24 months and add up 600 new people in the program every month and add up 95 new people walking in every month, you've now got funnels of people building up at all sorts of parts of the world. And now all of a sudden your sales are up. And we've got a client of ours the other day that was just raving about something. It's a PMQ magazine's a pizza marketing magazine. We did a big article for, and his sales are up 11% from last year, double-digit growth every month since last year, when he turned on this specific program, comboed it with his loyalty program he's had for going on 15 years. And he's a 20-year restaurant in Arizona. He's like, Matt, I've not been able to grow my restaurant sales because I was focusing so much internally. Yes, loyalty is important. Your best customers are important, but you've got to find new blood. People forget about you. People find a new restaurant. People die. People move. And at the same time, people want to divorce their other restaurant. So it's your chance to win them. People move into town. And so you've got to have marketing programs out there.
Servers change. Yes, Super Rica is one of our favorite places. We love it. Let's go back, but they just all of a sudden changed the menu. I mean, we love it. We even had our like favorite server there, knew his name, been going there for years and years and years. And we still go, but like, they just made some changes. I don't know if they asked a single customer about why they made those changes or to drive the decision. But, you know, my family's now like branching out and we're not going to, and we're looking for, you know, New Mexican place to kind of go to. So those life events happen ongoing. And if you're in a transient city, like I'm in Atlanta, I mean, the constant change that's going on here, right? I mean, the restaurants can do very well here because there's constant people that are coming in and looking for those, you know, new favorite places.
By the way, I've been to Atlanta twice in the past like 6 months, and a buddy of mine lives down that Beltway.
Oh yeah.
That is the coolest area
Beltline.
I have seen in a long time. Like we walked up and down that, went to a steakhouse that was in like a 200-year-old former bleach factory, and just the environment, the atmosphere is unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of people in Atlanta, I've been here. It's a massive, massive growth. There's actually more films going on in Atlanta and Georgia right now than there is in Hollywood. The filming, the production studios and everything here is just tremendous. And I want to show, I want to add a stage just to kind of show Thai visuals, right? So like, you know, this is I know one of the restaurants you guys worked with, like Wooden Paddle Pizza that Doug had shared, just to kind of tie the visuals. I know we've been showing the metrics, and I'd love for you to kind of finish wrap and kind of share that piece of it. But like, this is, and I was pulling up my messenger, you kind of see. So I came in here and I commented on this post, right? And so again, first of all, we got good content going on here, right? We got good video content. It's not just the food. It's, people, it's interactive. This is the kind of stuff when people come onto Facebook, this is what they want to be seeing, right? This lady's talking into a microphone, right? She looks excited, like she's sharing something passionate. The bacon was absolutely insane. Like, who is not going to want to have insanely good bacon?
Yeah, and this is a great restaurant that Jonathan and Brianna listen a lot. And they have a marketing assistant that works at the restaurant named Trist, who's unbelievable. And they listen. And this is that video. I don't even have to look and see what it is up close, but they had their menu release party recently. And that is from their menu release party, and they create content there. But yeah, you mentioned you comment on a post. We have a thing called the comment growth tool hooked up. So if you click that wooden paddle there.
Yeah, so I'm going to show. So I comment on it, and within like a couple of seconds, this is the comment that I made, right? The pie looks amazing, right? And I click on it, and within a couple of seconds, I got this message here, right? Hey, Brad, thanks for the comment. We appreciate it. Click the button below to check your current Pie Society.
Yeah, if you were to scroll up, have you you already?
Yes, I did this one before because I was chatting with Doug on it.
Yeah, scroll up to the very top for me. You'll see what happens. It's like Facebook now knows, like, you commented. It comes in there and it asks you. You scroll down. Hey, click here to join the Pie Society. Give us your email address, and your email, your number, your phone number, your name is already in Facebook. And so all you're doing is clicking buttons. It takes 10 seconds. And then we deliver a digital promotion to you that you bring in the restaurant, you show to your server, they give you the promotion. We know that you came in, we know that you spent money, we know what you spent money on, and now we can market to you with intent in the future. I call it aim and expect. That if most restaurants hope and pray, I hope that Matt Plapp saw this ad. I pray he comes back. Well, in this case, I can aim and expect. These people are in my database. They said they've never been to the restaurant. Let's send them an incentive to come for the first time. This person comes all the time. Let's send them an incentive to come back or to spend more money on their next visit.
Yeah. And so they set up in their POS system to tie the mechanics, right? So somebody, let's say these guys, you just started working with them. They don't have hardly any kind of major following on their Facebook page. You help them do some initial content, whether it's paid or if they're willing to work, kind of follow your lead, get some initial sort of organic stuff so that some of the local people in their local area who go to this restaurant, right? And my wife, my family and I, we go to like 5 or 6 local restaurants. I've never seen a single one of them in my Facebook feed, right? Because they're not doing the right things, and they should be, because we are advocates. And man, if I found out that our local Mexican restaurant or our local taco place was doing a special margarita deal, like it would drive our behavior, but it doesn't, right? And another one that does catering, right? We've ordered from them catering, not because they've ever motivated me, but we went after them. But if they had been offering and promoting it, they have a phenomenal catering experience. But in any case, help post, prime the pump, get some initial followers, grow it. Then you start getting other local people, right? If that it's like, oh, well, Brad Stevens in this area zip code liked it. And then they start showing it to a couple other people. Then the snowball effects happens. You throw a few bucks of ads at it. You start improving content. You get visibility. You start throwing your followers. Then when you do these engagements, right? Like the chat platform you guys manage for folks, you set this up. Then once it engages, like to your point, it's the attribution, right? So now Facebook is seeing not only is this page now starting to get people liking it, but once I comment, it engages, and then I'm going back and forth. I'm giving my name. I'm giving my email address. Every single one of those is a point that Facebook is racking up those points and saying, oh, all right, Paddle Pizza is now kind of on the radar. Okay, we want people to stay on Facebook, right? So let's start showing it to other people because they clearly want to engage. And then, this promo, I have it on my phone and I show this when I go in, and then the POS system at Wooden Paddle have built into their POS because they've tied it to this, the free dessert offer from, the Facebook ad, right? So when someone comes in, they can then hit that button that, yes, it's from that, and then track their ticket spend. And that's how they can track the ROI all the way through. Yeah.
And we track it so they would redeem it in Messenger, and the dollar amount goes right to that dashboard I showed you. And then they also would have a button on their point of sale that correlates with that to discount it. And it's kind of funny. I went to a restaurant about 4 months ago, and the owner, as a joke, called the offers Matt Plapp offer 1, Matt Plapp offer 2, like, because he knows me, and that was his little internal joke. And the people had no clue what Matt Plapp meant. And so I walked in one day and I ordered and I used my promo just to see if it worked. And they saw my credit card and they went, "How is your name the same as the promo?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She got, "This is called Matt Plapp." I'm like, "Oh, that's funny." I'm like, I own the company. I created this whole system, and he, instead of like some clients will call it, like in Wooden Paddle's case, BOGO offer 1, free dessert, ABR messenger program. They'll call it something so the servers can connect it to what marketing effort. And then also on their end, they can connect it. But he happened to call it Matt Plapp, and this person was blown away that like there was a person named Matt Plapp and I was that person. And I'm not even from there. So it was even funnier. But yeah,
it tracks the data back, right? Because at the end of the day, back to your other, the other joke is like, half of my marketing dollars aren't working. I just don't know which half, right? And so, or advertising dollars. And so with this, if it's done properly and they tie it all the way back, so it's a self-perpetuating machine, right? So you start getting visibility, then the algorithm sees there's engagement, right? And if you can do other things like do Facebook Lives and that kind of stuff, Facebook likes that, then you're starting to build momentum. So in your local area, you go from a couple hundred to 7,000-8,000 people that are now following. Now it becomes a legitimate like mouthpiece to like reach your customers that are now engaging through that platform. But now you've got them in your system. Now you can communicate with them by text, by email, by all these other channels.
And Messenger. Yeah.
And Messenger.
And it repeats every month. You're not spending your ad dollars to reach the same people next month. That's what happens. You have success on radio and you run a radio commercial and you're like, holy crap, our sales went up 10%. Well, you got to write that check again to the radio station for the exact people. In this instance, we are excluding people. So those 667 people that entered that program I showed you a minute ago, they are excluded next month. And so we're finding a new 600, a new 600. And so at the end of 12 months, every month we have done what the restaurant should have been doing anyways, spend money to get eyeballs. Everybody should advertise. I had a guy recently, I was in Atlanta at the Pizza Power Forum, another restaurant owner. We were on a panel together. He goes, "Matt Plapp's not going to like this comment, but I refuse to advertise." And I said, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Chevy, Coke, Chick-fil-A, Chipotle. You think it's a coincidence they advertise? Like every one of us need to advertise." And then I told him, "Hey, I'm going to come by your place with a toolbox." He's like, "Why?" "I'm taking your sign off your building. If you don't advertise and you're going to put that badge of honor, we're going to go hard in the paint. I'm taking your sign off the building. I'm going to scrape your stickers off your window." And he laughed. And I'm like, "No, I'm coming, seriously." But you should be advertising anyways. This is a way to monetize your advertising. When you monetize it, it pays for itself. Most of our clients their ad spend is covered every single month by that month's efforts. And then it's just throwing more people into their world. And I always tell our clients, well, Matt, how do I know that that database is going to work in the future? Give them a great product, give them great service, give them a great experience. If you suck, you're right. If you suck and your food sucks, probably not coming back. But if you give me a great product and I enjoy it, and then you have my data and you use it responsibly to tell me about that margarita, to invite me down to watch a football game, to remind me that you do catering, I'm going to keep spending money with you. And the cool part about it is that most restaurants aren't doing anything like this. The only people that are advertising consistently are the big brands, and they're using mass media. The minute a local restaurant, a local chain starts using these tactics, it blows up.
Wow, it's unbelievable how it's such an untapped. And that's why I was excited. I mean, I only have so many different kind of vendors and thought leaders kind of bring on, only if it's just truly something, unique, because I mean, everybody that knows me, I'm all about innovation and growth hacking and finding the most innovative way. I mean, I was showing on my podcast the other day, people don't realize, like with Notebook LM, like you can take any piece of content and it turns it into this interactive 2-person podcast, like instantly.
Yep.
And so this was, one of those just undiscovered things that just, met Doug, your COO at, when I was speaking at Cameron Herald COO Alliance, which we kind of support and help those guys out. And just knew it was something that was very unique. And with us doing a lot more work in the restaurant space, we always want to be a thought leader and bring new ideas to the table, to help our clients, because we can help, rising tide lifts all boats, and we help them be successful. They're going to potentially engage and hire more staff with us to support them. And I see us, being able to kind of recommend this and promote it to restaurants and kind of help support them in the journey. And, nothing else with the content piece to kind of help get the right content, because you get the right content, it just kind of drives this machine kind of even faster. So, so if you don't mind, Matt, if you don't mind throwing up real quick. So just in light of what we just shared in the visuals, just kind of showing that dashboard again, just briefly, if you have it up there, just to kind of show the metrics to kind of close out, so I can show everybody that, so they can tie back to what we just shared. Because I think tying the visuals to it and seeing how the actual mechanics of it work, right? You can now tie back and see. So it's the acquisition side. So it's getting new customers in. And something I want to highlight, you kind of said quickly there, but the fact that you aren't going after the same people, right? The beauty is the metrics and the target. You're covering your acquisition costs, not by getting the same person coming in, right, who's already a customer, and you're like, well, am I just giving away money, giving a discount to somebody who would have come in anyway? No, you're getting net new people in the door, right?
I'll tell you a funny
story. So now that's an
That.
opportunity. So you can calculate lifetime value of each of that unique set of visitors kind of each month that are kind of coming through the door. And that doesn't even count the people that they tell about from a word of mouth standpoint that came in because of that. People that end up doing catering for your restaurant because, they happen to need catering, and then because of it. And so if you truly calculate the lifetime value, I mean, it's pretty substantial.
So I'll give you a funny story on that you mentioned. I reshared that, by the way, if you want to hit it. This is back around 2015. I'm meeting with a print company that one of our clients, it was a 50 location chain, and we were doing all this stuff digitally. And the owner wasn't a complete believer in it yet. He because it was so foreign to him. He had never seen it. This is 2015. So we're going back 10 years. So we're sitting there and I'm trying to explain to him why I disliked his direct mail strategy. And so what I did was I did a survey for 3 months, because I go off of data. So for 3 months, I trained his staff. My team went in there, and every time somebody redeemed one of these direct mail coupons, it was called Reach Magazine, and it's owned by a company called Clipper, we would ask them a question. How often do you come to the restaurant? Oh, I come every week. How often would you have used this? Why'd you use this? Because I know that every month this 10 off of 30 is in Reach Magazine. We were able to figure out that 60% of the 1,400 coupons per month were already being used. His offer every month was 10 off of 30. So I got 600 or so coupons at $10 a pop, 6 G's that he's giving away. He's spending $4,000 to be in this magazine to give people who are already coming $6,000 off. And I'm like, Jim, I'm not a mathematician, brother, but that sounds like $10,000 you're pissing away. And we're not gaining enough new people. And so we're sitting there, and I was trying to hammer home the value of digital media. And again, let's go back 10 years, and this stuff's still not being used by people. And so the lady, Chris, was there, and she said, hey, Matt, here's next month's ads. We're going over stuff, because it was like crack. They wouldn't stop buying it. I said, Chris, I got an idea for next month. Let's exclude everybody who used the coupons last month. What do you mean? I'm like, well, on Facebook, I have these digital offers. I can exclude that person from seeing the ad again, and they're in our system, so I can exclude their emails and their phone numbers, and they've already used it. Well, Matt, I can't do that with direct mail. We mail the same 450,000 people. I'm like, oh shit. And like when I said it, she knew I was setting her up. She wasn't happy about it, but I was trying to make a point to my client, like, you're just giving away money. Wow. People are waiting for the $10 coupon every month and reusing. Like, why are we spending $4,000 to give 6 back? Like, makes no sense. And so, like, that's what I love about this. You can see that these 2,700 engagements, those people won't engage next month. They will not see the ad. Facebook's system has a way of what's called exclusion marketing.
Yeah.
If somebody gave me their data in here, they are not, I guess I'll lie. Those 667 won't see it because there's people in that 2,700 engagements that didn't give me their data yet. And so it will go after them like, hey, bro, where you at? Click, get your promo. And so that's the key aspect of it. You mentioned something that was important earlier too about your engagement. So you stopped on the ad, you clicked on the ad, or you commented in your case. You went to Messenger and you clicked join the Pie Society. You clicked I'm a new customer. You clicked email, phone number. You probably clicked 9 to 10 times. If you were in the zip code that we're targeting with Wooden Paddles ads, Wooden Paddles ads got better because you just took 7 actions. And if you tell us you're a frequent customer and you come in and use a couple of those offers that are in that library, that little catalog we sent you, the system keeps getting smarter and keeps finding. I was just looking at a client's ads the other day. He's been on this for 4 years and the program still works the same as it did 4 years ago. He's in Phoenix, Arizona, 3-location wing and beer joint. And it still does the same thing every month and just dumps new people into the database and every month self-funds.
Man. Well, hopefully folks that are listening, if you're kind of in the restaurant space, I mean, I know, goodness, it makes me want to kind of get into one so I can kind of launch this. I mean, especially knowing what I know with VAs, and I mean, I could do this at scale craziness with leveraging what your platform. And that's why I'm excited to be able to kind of bring this kind of knowledge and perspective around it. Cause I think, and we help a lot of clients with a lot of their catering business too, on the backside of it. And
yep.
You get people in the door and opportunities that this kind of drives on that piece, and then being able to take the content and repurpose it that they're getting in, right? I mean, getting them, because a lot of restaurants, they don't do a lot of content because just they don't have the time or dollars to do it, right? But just shooting quick videos, like we have one client, all they can do is shoot the video and they send our team in the Philippines, we chop it, we edit it, we do everything and help them support the process. And so being able to kind of perpetuate, things moving forward. So
yep.
No, it's exciting. And so I think, hopefully people get a chance to really kind of understand and see, the impact that this can have. And then you just prime the pump and it just continues to drive, ongoing. And, it's a self-funding, right? Which is pretty exciting on kind of how that aspect works. So, well, thanks so much, Matt. This is awesome to see and get a chance to meet Doug and kind of hear his angle, the COO perspective, and then kind of hearing you, and appreciate the energy and the case studies you kind of brought to the table here. So if folks want to learn, more about you guys and want to engage, I know y'all got tons of resources. You go to americasbestrestaurants.com. You can see the whole roadshow element there. If you're a restaurant and you want to kind of apply to participate, and then Get Driver, GETDRYVER, right, is the platform to engage with your all the social media services management we've been talking about here.
You know why there's a Y in there?
Tell me.
Because your restaurant needs to drive sales.
I like it. Hey, everything's subliminal, right?
There you go.
We'll Get Driver. We'll put it in the notes there. And for everybody that's in our world, and we usually talk a lot too about a bunch of outsourcing and VA case studies and examples and so forth. But anybody that's listening and wants to kind of learn more about outsource access in our world and how we can help and support the restaurant industry and see a bunch of case studies, I'll throw up real quick on our site as far as the specific thing that we've got that kind of helps go down this path. Go to outsourceaccess.com and click on buy industry, and then create software support. And as I mentioned, like Restaurant 365 is one of the things that we manage for clients. We do all their accounting, manage all their inventory. Nice. We got a 8-location group here in Atlanta that we work with recently, a big barbecue chain. This is District Taco. So I got a whole video YouTube series. So if you go on our website, you can see this, the COO, and how we help. I have a whole team in the Philippines supporting their back end to help them scale. And I tell you, one of the things that we do is this 2-question exercise, and it's so simple, Matt, and like as you've seen in your business a lot of times, but a lot of businesses, they don't understand, well, where can I begin? Where can I use a virtual assistant in my restaurant and so forth, right? Well, it starts with 2 simple questions, right? For you and your key managers, right? And we did this recently with an 8-location, chain here, and the owners are blown away by how many, responses they get back, which is simply, ask these two questions of yourself and your key managers. What are you doing that you don't feel is the best use of your time? And how many hours per month are you spending on it, right? Are you spending 19 hours per month going and chasing down and trying to reconcile Uber and DoorDash, reconciliation on, their platform, right? And then secondly, what do you think that we should be doing that we are not doing in our organization, our restaurant, due to time, money, or knowledge constraints? And so we got a great little template tool. If you'll shoot an email to tools with an S, tools@outsourceaccess.com, and just put a ABR, so we know kind of which episode came from. We'll send you a bunch of resources and tools, including our entire guide of about 100 different tasks we're doing for different restaurants with virtual assistants. And then we'll send you a link to this template. And it's got over 700 tasks. We've done about 5 million hours of work in the last 6 years for a number of companies. And so you can scroll through this, and this is 700 of some of the top tasks that we do across marketing, operations, sales, customer service, accounting, literally in the exact words of what we've done, right? That you go through this and people are always blown away by like ultimately what people are capable of, right? And then got an example of a completed 2-question exercise. And I'm telling you, if you never outsource a thing or never get any of Matt's stuff, if you'll just do this exercise, hell, it makes your employees and your managers feel heard. And that's one of the feedbacks we got from a big restaurant chain we worked with, is they get a chance to share. And a lot of times your frontline people, they have some of the best answers. You just never ask them. I've had so many owners that have come back and said, Matt, like you've been with me for 6 years as a server. Like you came back with 28 items on here that we should do. Why did you never tell me? Well, you never really asked.
Never asked.
And it's the frontline folks that have a lot of great perspective. And we got a blank one where you can kind of do the exercise with your team. But shoot that email, tools@outsourceaccess.com. We'll put it in the show notes. Put ABR in the subject line, and we'll engage. And we'll send you a bunch of other content. We got videos and things. A lot of people, when it talks about outsourcing and virtual assistants, they want to know, well, what do these people sound like? What about competency? What are they capable of? Well, I got about 100 interviews where I sat down right with our staff in the Philippines, talked about their life, their background, their journeys. And when you hear the incredible stories and the competency, a lot of perceptions people have when it comes to virtual assistants in Philippines. It's all these DFCs. And once they kind of go in, I call them doubt, fears, and concerns. And they start listening and they're like,
perceptions are crazy. They're so off. We've been using people overseas since 2018. And I don't say this to diminish my 45 full-time people here. I think one of the smartest people that we have on our entire team is overseas. And the guy's a genius and comes to the table with these ideas. I'm like, holy crap. And I would have never found him without help of an outsourced company.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is a lot of people, and again, myself included, before I started using offshore, 10, plus years ago, a lot of people kind of group it as like, that, bad customer service call I have with the cable company. Right. Yeah. And it's like, they kind of group it into incompetency and what have you, but they don't really kind of see like ultimately what is the impact that this can ultimately have for them. So, anyway, you go to our website, we'll send the information there and you kind of check it out, and we'll share a bunch of case studies and examples with you. Like this one I was talking about with District Taco, and fully integrated with their entire kind of management team and, running and managing Restaurant 365 for them. So we'll be happy to share that with you. So thanks again, Matt, for the opportunity to be with you today, man. This was super insightful and exciting. I learned a lot more in depth about the product and what you guys do, and look forward to getting this out and sharing with the audience, and encourage everybody to come visit you guys, and we'll kind of be able to help, lift the tide for a number of different restaurants out there together, man.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate the opportunity, and love the energy you brought and the questions as well.
Awesome, man. Take care.
Thanks, brother.